Welcome back to another video. So I have decided to create a separate video on each key or core concept of combine, and I actually already created two introductory videos on combine, but I think combine is a topic that is worth discussing and studying in depth. So if you are a beginner or you are just starting combine, then I have actually attached a link to a previous video, so you can go through that video before this one if it's hard for you to understand. But if you want to start from this one, then it's also fine because we are going to study combine in depth. And in this video, we are going to study subscribers in combine. So uh, we actually we are going to use a publisher as well because subscriber, we need a publisher to actually create a subscriber. So it's just we are going to create a separate video on publisher in depth, but for the sake of this tutorial we are just going to use a very simple publisher. So you just should know that a publisher actually provides value when the data is available. So it provides the data when the data is available and when the data is requested by the subscriber. And subscriber on the other hand is responsible for initiating a request for the data and then accepting the data which is provided by this publisher. So we have two inbuilt subscriber in combine. We have sync and then we have this assign. So sync actually attaches a subscriber with a closure based behavior to a publisher, and assign, it actually takes each element from publisher and then assign it to a property on an object. We further have two variation of this assign. We are going to study them in depth. So let's start by make sure to create a separate file because we want to we do not want to put everything in a single file, so make sure it's a separate file. And then let's just import combine, and then we can create a class in here. Let's just name it as maybe combine subscriber learning or something. Yeah, and then we can create a very simple publisher that is available to us by default. It's a sequence publisher. So now we have a publisher, so we can just go ahead and create a subscriber that requests and accept the data. So we are going to use init block, and then we can use first sync. So we can write publisher, and then if you type .sync, you can notice we have two further methods with which we can use this sync, two variation. And the first one actually only provides a received value, and the second version actually gives us a completion handler as well. So the publisher that if your publisher is actually has if your publisher has a failure type as never, then you can simply use this received value version because you are not going to get any error. That's fine. But if your publisher is returning some error, then you must have to use, it's a requirement in that case, to use this version where you accept a completion handler. And then if you want, you can further switch on the completion and check if what's the error is or something. But in our case, since we can check the type for our publisher, you can notice our failure type is never, so we can simply use this receive value version. And yeah, but for the for the understanding, you can use this receive completion version as well because it's fine to use if you want, but it's not a requirement if your failure type is never. So for the completion, you can just press enter again, and then you can write a completion and then further use a switch statement. But we are not interested in the error or the completion, so we can just simply write a print in here that says maybe sync completed. And then we have the receive value, which is of course a number from the publisher, because publisher is going to return us 1, 2 and 3. So we can just simply print sync maybe receive value, and then we can print the value that we are receiving. And then another thing you may notice that this sync actually returns us any cancelable. So if you want to cancel your subscription in future, you can store this in a separate variable, and like maybe a sequence, you can say sequence cancelable or something. But if you are not interested in canceling your subscription, um, I will actually let you know both ways. So we can use cancelable in here, any cancelable, and let's just start with a nil, and then we can use this any or store this cancelable like this. And yeah, so we have no warning anymore. So this is one way. If you want to in future maybe want to cancel it, so you can use this cancelable question. You have to use this null check, and then like this. So if it's not nil, you can just cancel it, that's fine. And if you are not interested, then you can just simply create a set in here. So cancelables, set any cancelable, and start with an empty set, and then you can store your all these cancelable inside this set. So use only this version if you are interested in canceling your subscription later on, but if you are not interested, you can simply store them in a set. And yeah, so this is how simple this sync subscriber is in Combine. And now we have further assign. So let's just create another publisher in here. You can name it as maybe publisher 2, and let's just use maybe a string type this time. So 1, 2, so we have a sequence, a string sequence here, and we can use now this publisher 2, and if you type dot assign, you can notice we have these two these two variations. So I actually have a little explanation for both of them. So this assign, what it does, it set a given property each time a publisher produces a value. So each time, like in this case, we have 1, so publisher is is going to produce 1, and then 2, and then 3. So each time it's producing a value, we can set that value on a given property. So let's just say we have a property in here that says maybe num in string. So what we can do is use, now we have this property, so each time this publisher is going to publish a value, we're going to set this value inside this property. So we can assign it, and 2 is actually on which property you want to assign the value published by the publisher, and on in here defines where this property is present. So right now it's present inside the class, so we can use self in here, and then we can use backslash dot num in str. So yeah, so this way each time this value is going to publish, we are just overwriting this value in here. So if you actually want to see the process, so you can use this did set, and you can simply print value each time a value is set for this num in string. So maybe you can use num in string, and then just simply print it. So each time you will in the console, you will notice that each time this publisher is publishing a value, the value is set for this property. And yeah, so this time we can use the store in cancellables, so we can store our this subscriber in this cancelable, the any cancelable return from this subscriber. And then we have this another variation which is assign to. So what it does is actually republish the element received from a publisher by assigning them to a property which is marked as a publisher. The operator manages the life cycle of the subscription, so we don't have to worry about canceling the subscription because it automatically cancels it when the publish instance deinitialize. So what we can do in here this time, we can use, first we have to create a property which is marked with @publish. So we need to use this @publish to var maybe num in string 2 or something. Okay, and this is because this @publish, what it does, it makes a property a publisher itself. So this assigned to it takes a value from the publisher and then republish its by using this property it will republish it. Because this is marked as @publish, so this itself is a publisher. So you can actually use further sync or assign on this publisher as well to actually get a value. And now we can use this publisher2 dot assign, and this time we are going to use this version. But in order to use this, we first have to understand another concept, because this 2 in here is in-out parameter. So we have let's just I will try to explain it with a simple method. In here we have this multiply function. What it does, it takes a number and then it maybe multiply the number by 10. So yeah, something like this. So normally what we do in these kind of methods, we actually return a value, we modify the value and then simply return it. And yeah, but in here what we want, we do not want to return the value, we directly want to modify it inside the function. So we cannot do this because this num is the value is copied in here, it's a constant, so we can do this. But in order to enable this num to be modified in here, we have to use in-out param. So what this in-out param does, it actually passes the value of the argument as a copy, and during the function, like in this statement here, the copied value is modified, and when the function is returned, this copied value or this modified value is assigned back to the variable. So now if you use this multiply, let's just say we have this num in here, and we can use multiply and we can provide our num, and then if you print it, num is now, you will notice our num is maybe 100 this time. Okay, so in order to use or in order to provide a value to this in-out param, we have to use this and sign, so it's a requirement. So this 2 in here is also an in-out params. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know how this in-out param is. So we actually have another subscriber, sorry, not the subscriber, another publisher available to us by the combined framework, and it's called timer. So we can use timer dot publish every maybe 1.0 second and run it on the main thread and use the run loop mode as common, and then we can use the auto connect to automate the process of connecting and disconnecting from this publisher. And then we can use this assign to, and notice we have got this n in here just like we got this n here. So this represent this value is actually in out, and in order to use it, so let's just not use num in here, maybe like time of type date, and let's just start with a basic date. So now we can provide this. Okay, sorry, we have to use it as a we have to use it with a $sign because it's a property that is marked with a published keyword. So this is how you can use assign. So see, we don't have to handle the any cancelable from this because it's automatically handles. And yeah, in here this assign actually has a reference. It's a strong reference to the object that has this property. but this doesn't have any reference, so that's another thing, I guess. And for this assign, if you want, you can actually use a different object as well. Like if you have maybe a separate class like numbers things or something, and then you have this string in here, so you can use it like this as well. So instead of using this self, we can use this object now, but make sure the object you are using is of type class. So we can use like object uh, num object, I guess. We can use num object, and now instead of using this assign, we can use this num object, because now, sorry, not this num, because now our num in string is present inside a different object, inside a different class. So you can, it's not a requirement to use self, you can use a different object as well for it. So, and if you want to run, or if you want to see the print statement, you can use this, you can just create this class, and then you can run it on a simulator or maybe a real device, and then you will see all these print statements. So this is just to let you know about the subscriber in combine. So we have two options. We can use sync or we can use assign. I hope both of them were easy to understand, but if you still have any question, let me know in the comment, and maybe I will cover them in a separate video. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one.